In a world that constantly demands reaction, your greatest act of rebellion is choosing silence. In a society addicted to response, your most devastating move is often making none at all. Listen carefully, because everything in your modern world is designed to make you reactive, and reactive people are controlled people. Look at the world around you. Every system, every platform, every interaction seems engineered to provoke immediate response. Social media is an outrage machine. Algorithms have learned that anger drives engagement, so they feed you content calculated to infuriate you. A political opinion you find abhorrent, a social movement you disagree with, someone living a lifestyle that offends your values, and beneath each piece of content is a comment box, waiting, inviting, demanding your response, and people comply. They type furious paragraphs to strangers. They spend hours arguing with accounts that exist solely to provoke. They exhaust themselves proving points to people who have no intention of listening. They believe they are fighting for truth, for justice, for what is right, but they are not fighting, they are dancing, and someone else is playing the music. This is what most people never understand. The person who can make you react controls you in that moment. They have reached across whatever distance separates you and pulled your strings. You have become their puppet, and your response is their entertainment or their weapon. I watched this pattern throughout my life, though the mechanisms were different. In the shinobi world, enemies would use insults to provoke reckless attacks. They would threaten things you love to make you abandon strategy. They would feign weakness to lure you into traps. And the shinobi who reacted predictably were the shinobi who died predictably. Your world is not so different. The battlefield has changed, but the principle remains. Those who react without thought are controlled by those who provoke without consequence. Consider the last time someone made you angry online. Perhaps they insulted your intelligence, your values, your identity. You felt heat rise in your chest. Your fingers moved to your keyboard. You typed a response. Maybe you deleted it and rewrote it, trying to make it more cutting, more definitive, more devastating. And then what happened? Did you change their mind? Did you feel satisfied? Or did you feel drained, frustrated, still thinking about the interaction hours later, while they had already moved on to provoke someone else? You gave them your time, your energy, your peace of mind. And what did you receive in return? Nothing but the illusion of having defended yourself. This is the trap. The belief that every provocation requires response, that every insult demands rebuttal, that every challenge must be met with confrontation. But consider, what if the strongest move is no move at all? When I was ordered to massacre my clan, I had multiple options. I could have refused and fought. I was strong enough to kill many before being overwhelmed. I could have exposed the village leadership's plan and triggered the civil war they feared. I could have fled and become a rogue ninja, preserving my own life and conscience. Each of those actions would have felt powerful in the moment. Each would have been a clear, decisive response to an impossible situation. But I chose the option that required the most restraint. I followed the order, then positioned myself as a villain to protect my village and my brother. I became the threat that kept external enemies cautious and internal factions stable. I absorbed hatred and blame and misunderstanding. This was not weakness. This was calculation. This was restraint, serving a purpose that immediate action could not achieve, and it nearly broke me. Do not misunderstand. Restraint is harder than action. Action releases pressure. When you are angry and you lash out, there is a momentary relief. When you are hurt and you hurt back, there is a sense of justice. When you are provoked and you respond, you feel like you have done something. Restraint offers none of that comfort. Restraint means holding the pressure inside, feeling the anger and not releasing it, experiencing the provocation and not taking the bait. Restraint is uncomfortable in a way that action never is, but discomfort is not the same as weakness. Sometimes the hardest path is the strongest path. Think about your own life. How many times have you reacted to something and regretted it later? The email you sent in anger that damaged a professional relationship. The argument with a loved one, where you said something cruel that you cannot take back. The social media post you made in outrage that someone screenshot and used against you. In the moment, reaction felt powerful. Afterwards, you realize that restraint would have served you better. This is because reaction is often about your feelings, while restraint is about your goals. Reaction prioritizes the immediate emotional release. Restraint prioritizes the long-term outcome. Ask yourself, do you want to feel powerful right now, or do you want to be powerful when it matters? Let me teach you something about control. There are two types of control in any conflict. There is the control of action, the ability to strike, to respond, to make moves. Most people focus on this type of control. They want to have the last word, to make the decisive statement, to be the one who acts rather than the one acted upon. But there is a deeper type of control, the control of self, the ability to feel provoked and not be moved by it, to be insulted and remain calm, to be challenged and choose whether to engage based on strategy rather than emotion. This second type of control is vastly more powerful than the first, because it cannot be taken from you. Someone can prevent you from acting. They can block you on social media, remove you from a space, overpower you physically, but they cannot make you react emotionally unless you allow it. Your internal state, your decision about whether their provocation reaches you, that remains yours. I developed this control through necessity. NBU missions required me to endure torture without breaking. Undercover work required me to be insulted, suspected, threatened without revealing my true thoughts. And my final years required me to be hated by the person I loved most without defending myself. Each time someone tried to provoke me and failed, I won. Not in the visible way where everyone sees your victory, but in the only way that truly matters. I remained in control of myself. Your modern world gives you countless opportunities to practice this control. Every notification designed to pull your attention, every headline crafted to provoke outrage, every comment meant to bait you into argument, every person who insults you hoping for reaction. Each is a test, and most people fail these tests dozens of times per day without even realizing they are being tested. But you can choose differently. You can see the provocation for what it is, an attempt to control you, and you can refuse to be controlled. This does not mean you never respond. It means you respond strategically rather than emotionally. You choose when your words matter rather than wasting them constantly. You pick battles that serve your goals rather than your ego. There is a reason why the quiet person's words carry more weight than the person who talks constantly. When someone speaks rarely, people listen carefully. When they finally speak, when someone is known for restraint, their occasional action has enormous impact. But when someone reacts to everything, their actions become noise, meaningless, predictable, ignorable. Salace, alive you canal applause. I rarely spoke unnecessarily. In Akatsuki meetings, I would listen as others argued and boasted and schemed. Didara would rant about art. Hidan would rave about his religion. Kisame would make observations, and I would remain silent unless I had something meaningful to contribute. This created an effect. When I did speak, the room paid attention. My words carried weight because they were rare. My judgments mattered because I did not offer them casually. You can create this same dynamic in your own life. By practicing restraint, by not reacting to every small thing, you build a reputation. People learn that you are not easily provoked, that you do not waste energy on trivialities, that when you finally do act, it means something. Consider two colleagues. One complains constantly about management, about workload, about policies, about everything. The other remains measured, professional, largely positive. Both eventually encounter a genuinely serious problem, perhaps an ethical violation or a dangerous working condition. When the constant complainer raises the alarm, how seriously will they be taken? Their complaint sounds like all their other complaints. It is noise. But when the measured person raises the alarm, people listen. Because this person does not cry wolf. This person has demonstrated restraint and judgment. So when they finally say something is wrong, it probably is. This is the power of restraint. It makes your actions meaningful by making them rare. The same applies to relationships. The person who argues about every small annoyance will find their partner stops listening. But the person who lets small things go and only addresses genuine issues will find those conversations actually lead to change. The parent who yells constantly will raise children who tune out yelling, but the parent who remains calm and only raises their voice in true emergencies will raise children who snap to attention at that rare signal. Your restraint today purchases influence tomorrow. But let me address the objection I know some of you are thinking. Does this not mean letting people disrespect you? Does restraint not invite more abuse? This is a misunderstanding of what restraint means. Restraint is not acceptance. Restraint is not submission. Restraint is not allowing yourself to be walked over. Restraint is choosing your battles and your methods strategically, rather than reactively. Sometimes restraint means not responding, because response would be a waste of your energy. A stranger online insults you. Restraint means recognizing that their opinion is irrelevant and not worth your time. But sometimes restraint means preparing a devastating response and delivering it at precisely the right moment for maximum effect. A colleague undermines you repeatedly. Restraint might mean not reacting immediately, but instead documenting everything and presenting it to management at a strategic time with undeniable evidence. Sometimes restraint means walking away from a fight you would win, because winning proves nothing meaningful. But sometimes restraint means waiting until the conditions are perfect, and then striking so decisively that the conflict ends permanently. Do you see the difference? Restraint is not about being passive, it is about being deliberate. I demonstrated this balance throughout my life. I allowed myself to be misunderstood and hated without defending myself. That was restraint in service of a goal. But when Kabuto tried to manipulate Sasuke, I trapped him in an inescapable illusion and made clear what would happen if he interfered again. That was action in service of the same goal. When restraint served, action when action served. Never confusion between the two. This is what you must learn. Restraint is not a blanket policy of never responding. It is the wisdom to distinguish between provocations that deserve your energy and provocations that deserve your indifference. Most provocations deserve indifference, but some deserve calculated response. Your task is developing the wisdom to know which is which. So how do you develop this restraint? How do you become someone who chooses response rather than defaulting to reaction? First, you must understand what reaction truly costs you. Every time you react emotionally to provocation, you pay multiple prices. You pay in time, minutes or hours spent engaging with something meaningless. You pay in energy, mental and emotional resources drained by anger or frustration. You pay in focus, pulled away from things that actually matter to you. And you pay in control. You have handed power over your internal state to whoever provoked you. Calculate this cost honestly. Think about the last week. How many times did you react to something online, in traffic, in conversation? How much time did those reactions consume? How did you feel afterwards? What did you gain? Most people, if they are honest, will realize they gained nothing and lost much. Second, create space between stimulus and response. This is perhaps the most practical technique. When something provokes you, do not react immediately. If it is online, close the app. If it is in person, take a breath before speaking. If it is an email, save it as a draft rather than sending. This space, even just seconds or minutes, allows your rational mind to catch up with your emotional reaction. Your initial feeling might be rage, but after a moment you might think, actually, responding to this serves no purpose. That moment of space is where restraint lives. Third, redirect your energy toward goals rather than grievances. When you feel provoked, ask yourself, does responding move me toward any meaningful goal? If the answer is no, restraint is the obvious choice. If the answer is yes, then craft a strategic response rather than an emotional one. I used this constantly. When I felt anger toward the village leadership for what they forced me to do, I asked, does acting on this anger serve Sasuke or the village? The answer was no. So I restrained the anger and continued my path. Finally, recognize that most provocations are tests of your control, and refusing to react is how you pass. The internet troll wants your anger. The aggressive driver wants your road rage. The manipulative colleague wants your visible frustration. By remaining calm, By refusing to give them the reaction they seek, you win, and you preserve your energy for things that actually matter. Let me tell you what true power looks like. True power is being capable of destruction and choosing creation. True power is being able to dominate a conversation and choosing to listen. True power is having the last word available to you and choosing silence. True power is having every reason to react and every ability to devastate, and still choosing restraint because restraint serves your purpose better. I could have killed the village elders who ordered my family's death. I could have exposed their conspiracy. I could have destroyed Konoha for what it took from me. I had the capability, the justification, and multiple opportunities, but I restrained myself. Not because I lacked power, because I had enough power that I could afford to withhold it. That is what strength looks like when it matures beyond the need to constantly prove itself. You see this in your world too, though perhaps you have not recognized it. The billionaire who does not respond to every criticism, the champion who does not argue with every doubter, the expert who does not correct every misconception, the master who does not need to constantly demonstrate mastery. They have transcended the need for constant validation through action. They know what they are capable of, and that knowledge is sufficient. They do not need the world's acknowledgement with every breath. Meanwhile, the insecure are always reacting, always defending, always proving, because they are not certain of their own power, so they need constant external confirmation. Which are you? The person who must respond to every provocation to feel powerful, or the person whose power is so certain that provocation cannot touch it? I will not pretend restraint is easy. It goes against every instinct toward immediate satisfaction. It requires you to sit with discomfort rather than releasing it. It demands that you think long-term, when every emotion pushes you toward the immediate. But easy and worthwhile are rarely the same thing. Restraint is a practice. You will fail at it many times. You will react when you should have waited. You will engage when you should have ignored. You will waste energy on meaningless conflicts. This is part of the process. Do not judge yourself harshly for failing. Instead, notice the failure. Observe what provoked you and why. Learn from it, and try again. Over time, you will develop the muscle of restraint. Provocations that once infuriated you will barely register. Insults that once demanded response will seem beneath your notice. Situations that once pulled you into reaction will find you unmoved, and you will discover something interesting. As you become harder to provoke, people stop trying. The trolls move on to easier targets. The manipulators seek more reactive victims. The provocateurs find you boring because you will not play their game. Your restraint becomes a shield that does not need to be actively maintained. It simply is. So here is what I am teaching you. In a world designed to make you reactive, your superpower is choosing when and how to respond. You do not owe anyone your reaction. You do not owe anyone your anger. You do not owe anyone your defense, your explanation, your justification. Your energy belongs to you. Your peace belongs to you. Your internal state belongs to you. And the moment you understand this, truly understand this, you become very difficult to control. The algorithm cannot manipulate you if you do not feed it engagement. The troll cannot bait you if you do not take the bait. The manipulator cannot push your buttons if you have disabled the buttons. This is power that no one can take from you, because it is not power over others, it is power over yourself. And power over yourself is the only power that truly matters. Be slow to anger. Be slow to respond. Be slow to engage. Not because you fear conflict, but because you respect your own energy too much to waste it on what does not matter. Save your words for when they will be heard. Save your actions for when they will have impact. Save your power for when deploying it serves a purpose beyond satisfying your ego. This is restraint. This is control. This is the ultimate power, not the ability to destroy everything that annoys you, but the wisdom to preserve your strength for what actually deserves it. The world will test you constantly. Most of those tests are meaningless. Pass them by not taking them, and when the meaningful test arrives, the moment that truly matters, you will have the full force of your energy available, because you did not waste it on trivialities. That is how you become unstoppable. Not by reacting to everything, but by choosing your battles so carefully that when you finally commit, victory is inevitable. Restraint is not weakness. Restraint is power so refined that it no longer needs constant expression. Master yourself, and you master your world. That is the lesson. Learn it before the world teaches you through suffering, as it taught me.